Hi guys, I'm Lana.
Hi, I'm Ashley.
And this is the Second Breakfast Club. And today we're doing a review of episode 3 of Burn the Stage. And we just watched it. We actually watched it twice, and we have it here in front of us to kind of click through and see little things. So I don't have my notebook this time. But let's just see how this ends up going.
Yeah.
Alright, so this also at least started out very intense. Like, kind of starting immediately up on Jungkook being sick in Chile and having, it looks like altitude sickness and dehydration, because they're saying it was like really, he was too hot, he was overheating.
Yeah.
And just kind of everybody trying to deal with that throughout basically the whole concert.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know, I thought it was almost a reality check, because I know that we like to call, like, BTS our babies, our sons, you know what I mean? But, like, this is a lot to handle for anyone of any age, you know? And they're actually, you know, they're the age of most of us. I don't know, I thought it was, like, a reality check, too, when, like, Namjoon was, like, you know, like, I didn't know what to do in this situation, you know? Like, I was really worried, you know, I'm just a kid, you know? And it's, like, we call them, like, babies and stuff, but, like, we don't see them like that. They're hardworking. They're so dedicated to everything that they do. And then Namjoon was just like, it was out of my hands. You know, like when you're a kid and there's nothing you can do, you know?
Absolutely. Well, and he has a really interesting moment where he's talking about, like, as leader, he's so concerned about Jungkook, but he actually felt a little bad because his first thought was, like, how's the show going to operate?
Yeah, because there's nobody to replace him.
Yeah, he's like, Jungkook is one of our lead singers. He's a lead dancer. Like, he makes the point, like, none of the members are interchangeable or could be replaced.
Yeah.
But especially Jungkook, you can't just take him out of the show right at the beginning and have anything operate correctly.
Yeah.
And he felt a little bad that was his first thought, instead of, like, Jungkook might be completely ill, like, too ill to go out. But he was also just really concerned about him and didn't know what to do, and, like, which is interesting, because while I get his emotion being, basically, I'm just a kid, I didn't know what to do. I don't know, seeing some of these scenes, I felt like we haven't really seen them quite as manly before. Like, Namjoon was really adult throughout all, especially when they actually, like, showed the footage of him there.
Yeah.
Like, circling and making sure everything's okay and putting plans together and just trying to be aware, and all the other members, like, coming in to help, and, like...
Yeah, like, when J-Hope was saying that, like, I literally could not think of one other thing than Jungkook.
Yeah.
During that time. Like, he's like, I didn't even think about myself. My first worry was Jungkook.
Yeah, trying to balance a show and somebody being so ill and still having to perform. Like, he still kept going out. Yeah, it's hard to watch because it's way more intense than episode 2. This is him, like, on oxygen and laying on the ground because he can't sit up properly, and them having to, like, dramatically cool him down, so, like, covering him with ice and stuff in a side room, no longer, like, on the couch. But he turned out okay. Even by the end of the show, he was doing a lot better, because they showed kind of the after party, and he was okay.
I loved, too, that, like, you know, it's obviously it was very serious matter, but, like, when they were like, we need to take off the socks,
he didn't want his socks taken off.
He was like, oh, so your socks are your pride, huh?
Yeah.
And he left.
The director, basically trying to calm him down, was like, like, trying to take... They actually showed, like, him trying to lift his feet, and Jungkook's pulling his feet away. He's like, no, I don't want my socks off. He's like, oh, your socks are your pride, huh?
Yeah, it was silly.
It was very cute.
And it made me, like, almost relieved that, like, even though he was in such distress, that he could still, like, laugh about it.
And I'm sure that's why they included the scene, to be honest, because people watching it might have been overwhelmed at that point. But yeah, and it was also, I think, the first sign that he was improving, because before he wasn't even registering people.
Yeah, he wasn't cognitive, for sure.
And then it got to the point where he could, like, laugh a little bit, so obviously it was working, like, cooling him down and him ready, so that, again, by the time they were at an after party, he was, like, sitting with them, and he could laugh, and he could communicate, and he didn't look ill anymore, he looked tired.
Yeah.
So, that was the saga there. Oh, it was a tiny thing that was mentioned, just kind of off to the side, but they mentioned that everybody was really upset, and so Yoongi was dancing weird on purpose on stage to make everybody laugh. like the other members left, because he doesn't say why, but of course we all know the way Suga operates. It was to try to balance the mood.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of people have noticed when one of them are down, suddenly Yoongi is 3 times bigger. Mm-hmm. And he kind of was doing this, and Jimin was talking about how, like, Yoongi really made his day because he, like, made him laugh so hard when obviously they were all really stressed. And Jimin being so empathetic, I can't imagine how stressed he would be, you know?
Definitely.
Watching any of the members falling apart. So I thought that was a nice little moment.
Oh, we also want to talk about, this is Chile, right?
Yeah, Chile.
How respectful.
Oh, that was Brazil, yeah.
Oh, yeah, how respectful Brazil was.
When they got off the airplane?
Yeah. Didn't even need any, like, ropes or anything. Everyone was just,
they all just stood behind lines.
Which is the way it should be. Nobody needs to be ripping clothes off and getting crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. So that stood out. And I mean, it's not that Chile fans were disrespectful. That was just, they showed Brazil at the airport.
Yeah.
In fact, I was going to say, on stage, they kept cutting to the fans watching them. And I was just like, same. All the time, 'cause these girls are like weeping and losing their minds. And like, there's a little, like, baby girl. And she had like a balloon. And
oh, yeah, it was cute.
the fans were adorable. I totally get why RM was like, oh yeah, the fans are so cute. They make me so happy.
Definitely. I also really liked about how when V was talking and discussing about how he tries to look at each face individually. Like, he is like, I want to look at as many faces as I can.
Yeah, he said once I see a face, I never forget it.
Yeah.
And so
he's like, I always want to be looking at Army when I sing.
Yeah, he's like, I think that's the exact. We have the line, I just randomly popped up. It says, I just sang looking at Army. And he looks really happy and just, I don't know. It was great because we haven't had a ton of V, period, but there's also been a lot of drama not involving V, but it was a delightful little, like, interview moment where he, I don't know, it made me really happy to see. And then Suga, of course, talks about how, like, he knew it was a good concert because he just watches the fans and sees that they're having a good time, and then he knows he did well if the fans are happy. And so that about closes out the first little bit in Chile. And from there, the episode becomes delightful.
So delightful.
Like,
and I think it was very much needed.
Yeah, I'm sure it was to try to, like, bring it back down, but to go from something very dramatic, like from minute 1, to suddenly being just the best, most realistic Bangtan I could ever ask for.
Definitely.
Right? So that's where we get them, they go to Brazil, and you see, like, their airport is really well managed, and then it literally just goes into how they spend their days.
Yeah.
Like, when they're not on stage, and a lot of footage of them, like, in their hotel rooms, and, like, just what were you doing? And that's where Jin talks about taking back up the guitar, because he hadn't been able to take lessons. And he wanted to make sure he learned something if he had all this free time. And they juxtapose that against, like, Jimin, who just wants to read all day. And he said that he and Jin got the same novel, and they have, like, a little baby book club.
Which is so
well,
precious.
I said baby. Obviously, they don't call themselves babies. Because they're not. They're grown men. But still, I love that they have a book. Like, they share a book together on tour.
I loved hearing, like, when Jimin was like, he said, you know, like, one day I mindlessly spent 7 hours on my phone. You know, like...
Yeah. He's like, it's wonderful. That's when we were both, like, same, when he was talking about, he's like, I just wish that we didn't have to sleep. Like,
seriously.
How nice would it be if we could just do whatever we wanted and we didn't get tired? Like, basically, the equivalent of, like, so much time is wasted sleeping. When I could be doing other things. And he had his glasses on almost the whole time. He just looked like a cutie. I don't know. I really liked it.
Yeah, it made me happy, too, because, you know, we know how hard they work and stuff, but when they said, you know, like, oh, we're on a long tour, so we have a lot of downtime, a lot of free time.
It did make me happy.
It was almost refreshing to hear that.
Yeah, so seeing, like, Jin was, like, learning Japanese and playing the guitar, and Jimin was reading, and V is being, like, this cutie in these beautiful pajamas, sitting and, like, sketching and writing notes. See, we're clicking through. Suga, of course, was working on music basically the whole time, but he seemed really proud. Like, he came up with something on tour that he was really excited about. And J-Hope was working on the mixtape, which is so fun to watch after the mixtape has been released.
Definitely.
Like, he was working really hard.
Namjoon's always so philosophical.
Yeah, he was also writing music, but there's a moment where he talks about how he writes because, well, here's the quote, "I'm also afraid of this world. I feel sad and lonely." And he's basically, I use my music to get all of that out.
And if I can make somebody feel better, then I feel like I've done my job.
So he's trying to take, like, his anxiety and his problems and his fears and translate that into something helpful to other people. And
Definitely.
it was a really nice, like, minute where he's talking about his inspirations and, like, you see him in his pajamas and his room is a little bit disheveled and he's working on music and then he's like, it's exactly how I imagined Namjoon.
Yeah.
Like, exactly.
Yeah, like you said, it's very delightful. This whole...
Is. That's also how we learned that he has elbows that go in. Because he's, like, doing this, but the elbows go in. I don't know. I've always been interested in people whose elbows do that. That's a weird thing about me. Yeah, J-Hope doing music, Jungkook video gaming. And I admire the heck out of him being like, yeah, I know you're filming me, but you wanted this to be realistic, right? And he's just like, I'm gonna play my video games. And at one point, V even comes in and he's like, they're filming you. Why are you gaming?
Right.
Which makes me wonder what V normally does, because he was looking all sophisticated with his notebook, and then he comes in and yells at Jungkook.
And he's like, hey man, you game too.
Yeah.
That's just so cute to me.
Right? They're playing. But while showing this, Jungkook has this beautiful discussion about, he basically says, I feel like I stopped mentally aging at 15. Because that's when I joined this group.
Yeah, he became a training, yeah.
And he has this, it's basically the conversation you'd have if he was explaining Begin, the song. Like, I didn't go to school a lot. I didn't have a lot of influences. It was just my brothers. And so I'm like, who I am now is like a little tiny piece of all of them all put together into one person.
Yeah.
And he's like, and I'm learning a lot, but I never like noticed that I'm learning until it's like I've
all
done
of a sudden
it.
I'm a piece of a puzzle that you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, he said basically they put all the scattered pieces of my puzzle together.
Yeah.
I'm like, baby.
I know. I love how much he gives
Or
credit.
grown man. Like,
yeah.
I try not to call them babies as much because they're not. That's the expression of my warm motherly feelings, not them as thinking of them as children.
You're almost 10 years older than Jungkook, so
yeah,
he's technically he could
kind
be
of
a little baby to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, but I still see him as a man in my head. I just get affectionate towards them.
Yeah.
Like, I've said on my Twitter before, the one thing I'd petition Big Hit to do is always have sweet little grandmas backstage who will hug them and give them treats.
Yes.
Because I just feel like they constantly need... I just want to mother them. They've got good mothers, but also I want to feed them and make sure they're okay, But he gives a really wonderful talk about that. And Ashley and I were talking about how this documentary is showing more sides of Jungkook than I think we've ever gotten to see. Because normally they like to focus a lot on, like, he's really talented at things and he works really hard, but you rarely see daily life.
Outside of Golden Maknae.
Yeah, like, human being Jungkook outside of just his traits and talents. Like, getting to see him in his downtime and see, like, I always knew he liked pranks, but seeing him being such, like, a sophisticated little, like, Fred and George Weasley type.
Yeah.
Like, smart and a little sassy and caring, but also, like, pranky and... I don't know.
Mischievous.
Yeah, mischievous is the word. I've really enjoyed watching Jungkook on this show, outside of, him dying.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I remember that spot really spoke to you, too.
Definitely. I don't know, I think it's cool that, I don't know, BTS literally raised him, like, he was like, I was so shy and I was so introverted, and V helped me break out of that,
Yeah.
Like, each person, like you said, they were, helped put together his puzzle pieces.
Yeah. Like, it kind of had this vibe of, like, I'm becoming who I want to be, and I never would have been able to figure out how to do that without my brothers.
Yeah.
Because I used to be so scared I wouldn't even wash when they were awake kind of thing. And
Yeah.
he's like, and now I'm capable of being this person that makes me happy.
Yeah. I think that's huge.
Right? I'm so happy
The journey of finding himself was through finding his
brothers.
Yeah.
Ah. Jungkook.
Oh.
We're skimming through to see what's next. And next we get to the scene that made Ashlyn just feel right at home.
Yeah, we were watching it and I was drinking wine. I was like, oh my gosh, I have to add to this ambiance. And I went and got some pizza.
Yeah, so they're like sitting around the dinner table with piles of wings boxes. Like each of them has a box of wings.
And they're drinking wine.
And they've got like wine and soda. And I think it's hilarious that all their salads are piled up in the middle, completely untouched.
Yeah.
They've eaten all the junk food. And it's everyone but Jungkook, because Jungkook obviously is healing. And they're just being a family.
Yeah, and talking about like old memories. Like I died when Namjoon was like, you know, I was walking and there was a van behind me and I was like, this can't be the company van. And they came up and shoved ice cream in my pocket. And of course and he's like, and then I ate it.
Yeah, because like fans are always concerned about them not eating. So he's like, yeah, someone just like put ice cream in my pocket. And he spends like 2 seconds being like, it was so weird and unusual, but of course I ate it.
Yeah. He's like, I was covered in ice cream. Yeah.
Yeah, and he was like covered. And I was noticing that like Jimin could put back a glass of wine.
Yeah.
And it was just so casual, and everybody was really happy. And
it was
Suga's
like
so talkative.
He is.
Like he was just leading that dinner table, and just,
it's like moments seeing like this. That's like, okay, like it was.
This is at home. This is their night, you know.
And nothing made me happier than like this clip, I think, ever in anything. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like and drinking, eating, laughing.
And they even talked some heavy stuff.
Yeah.
Like Suga mentions that the shoulder injury he mentioned in the last, he always told people it was because he fell down the stairs. But in fact, he got hit by a car while on a delivery bike, and he like almost went under the car and like dislocated his shoulder. He had to pop it back into place, and it was so bad he had to like stop working out and stop b-boying. And he mentions that, and one of the members asked him about, well, did you tell the company? Because I didn't realize this happened when he was a trainee. And he's like, no, of course I didn't. I didn't want them to kick me out.
Right.
Like, so he was harboring this basically alone, and that was around the time he was telling the company, like, I can't do this anymore. I can't keep waiting. And he almost quit, which we knew, but I didn't realize it was like due to severe injury and stress.
Yeah.
And you know, they were able to talk him into staying, and that led into J-Hope talking about how he did quit back in the day. Like, he left. They're like, yeah, Jungkook was crying, and you held him, and, you know, said goodbye and left.
And Namjoon was like, I literally
He fought so hard.
What I also found really refreshing, too, is when Suga was talking to the company about how, you know, his whatever, and he's like, you know, I'm, like, really stressed about college. And they're like, oh, well, you know, like, why didn't you tell us sooner? We could have paid that. You know, we'll pay that for you.
Big Hit paid his college.
Yeah. And
he was like, my family's poor. I couldn't do it. And he just never thought to ask. Like, oh, yeah, you should have asked us sooner. Here you go.
Yeah.
How nice. Like, I don't know if that's standard practice or not, but oh my gosh.
Right?
Especially since that was their attitude, not like, well, we'll work it out, I guess. It was just like, oh, hey, why don't you ask sooner? Here you go.
Yeah.
Like,
I think that, I don't know. This whole thing, just all of it is just,
yeah.
It tickles my fancy, you know?
Yeah, and you know, it really hit me that when J-Hope decided to come back, he said it was because he trusted them.
Yeah.
He's like, well, I trusted you guys. I came back. Like, in this conversation, 3 of the 7 members talked about how they were very close to leaving or did leave. And it just gave me this moment of like, oh my gosh, what if they hadn't stuck it out?
Right? And in a weird way,
like
this wasn't necessarily discussed, but in a weird way, I feel like it was because of RM.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like,
he was constantly
like,
popping up as the one who, like, was encouraging them, but also, like, working with management and trying to just make cases to keep everyone.
Yeah, like, Namjoon, you know, it's very well known that he was the one who, you know, I mean, he was the first member and the starting member of this group.
Yeah,
and
the only original member left.
And he was basically in charge of it, you know, whatever. And he found what he liked and what he wanted and what he felt was going to work the best.
Which,
and he fought so hard.
I was going to say, we talk a lot about Big Hit and especially Bang PD's ability to team build, but I think a good chunk of that was on Namjoon.
I do too.
In terms of building a good team, because he was in the trenches seeing, like, no, their energy is good as a group.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, it's not just all about technical skill, it's about can we get along and can our personalities function together well. He's a great leader, you guys. I know he doesn't, like, he's always like, no, I'm not a great leader, the members make me a great leader. He is a really good functioning leader of a human being.
Yeah. He, like...
And so humble about it. It was like a half sentence, him saying he fought for J-Hope. You know?
In a past life, he was, like, probably one of the best kings to ever rule.
Right? I like to think they were all, like, King Arthur's knights or something. I don't know. That's very Western of me, but I couldn't think of an equivalent in the East. I'm sorry. But I've always seen, yeah, absolutely. And I don't know. It was just a really pleasant scene.
It really
was. There's a point where Ashlyn turned and she was so happy, and I go, what? She goes, Suga has a little wine stain on his teeth.
Oh my gosh!
And it made it so happy because it was so human. It was like your friend sitting at the table with you. Because they're drinking wine and having fun. And they're like barefaced, and they really play up the bare face in these episodes. Like, you can see when they have blemishes or if they have a breakout or something, and it's nice.
It's very nice.
Also, this episode, this scene was the start of it. They really are pushing in this episode that they're eating. And they're not dieting anymore.
Yeah, Jimin was like, that's nonsense. This starving.
Yeah, well, one of them was like, oh, we can't do starvation diets anymore. And Jin was like, oh, no, that's terrible. And Jimin's like, it's nonsense.
Yeah.
Like,
I think Jin was the one that said we can't do those starvations anymore. And
yeah, they're just, like, 3 or 4 of them said it.
Yeah.
It was just... It made me happy, and I mean, I knew that was the case because I know they're making a big deal out of the fact that they haven't lost weight for this next comeback. Like, V and Jimin both went on record as, like, we haven't lost weight. Some, like, weights were released, and they're like, no, those are old ones. We are heavier than that now. Like, it's... I think because ARMY was so concerned, especially about Jimin, and so much got leaked about his starvation diets, that Big Hit is finally like, yeah, they like you guys. Like, you don't have to be stick skinny anymore. We'd rather you be healthy. And I mean, they're always slender, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Definitely. It just made me happy to see them with piles of wings and Jimin eating with dip and downing wine, and like, they're all talking about diets like they're nonsense.
I know.
It made me happy.
And I love saying that, like, I guess it's only because we can see it from our angle, but Suga's pile of wings is massive. Yeah. That he's eating.
Yeah, he's the one who starts the diet conversation, because he's like, you know, the fans keep telling me, oh, I wish you'd eat, and I keep telling them, I eat a lot. Like, I eat all the time. And it does turn, and he ate a box of wings that night.
Yes, definitely.
Which, I mean, is a great food for them. They need both the sugar after a performance and the protein.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. And it's interspersed throughout scenes, like, when they're working in their little hotel room studios, they constantly have, like, cup of noodle and chips in the background, and, like, they're obviously drinking a lot of water, and just, like, it's being reinforced in this episode that they eat.
And then after this, like, little perfect moment, it goes into them being, like, little baby fetuses. And, talking.
The flashbacks.
Mm-hmm. It's, like, literally the cutest thing ever. My favorite thing was Jin, where he was like, you know, my new family, my BTS brothers, they literally ate a whole cake.
Yeah, it's like, it's my birthday, my new family. Wow, they're big eaters.
Yeah, he's like, they literally ate a whole cake in 15 seconds. He's like, ugh, I'm proud. Or I'm impressed or something. I was just like...
Because these are all, like, video vlogs from, like, 2013.
Mm-hmm.
Like, right before, or right... I think most of it is right before debut, because J-Hope talks about how he's going to keep practicing rap until debut. But they are fetusy.
And it makes me laugh so hard.
Best way.
Because
Jungkook
it was
so tiny.
It was so obvious that all of them have made such drastic changes except for Suga.
Suga's exactly the same.
And I know he always talks about it, but it's like, literally, I was just like, dude, literally, he hasn't
Poor
changed.
Suga. We should let that man grow a beard. Like,
I know.
he keeps complaining. My favorite thing he ever said, or one of them, was in a thing where they're all teasing him about that on a variety show. And he goes, in my day, it was good to look younger than your age. But, yeah, when Jungkook is like, I finally graduated, but I feel really anxious. I miss my mom
and my
dad. And he just, like, buried his face in this little furry jacket. And then you compare that to, like, the Jungkook playing video games in his hotel room earlier. And you're like,
eating Pringles.
You just see the growth. And this is, like, because this was filmed last year, so this is within 3 to 4 years. These massive changes.
Definitely.
Namjoon with his big glasses and his hair down, not yet permed, so he looks like he has a mullet off the back of his neck.
Yeah, he has the dreads.
That boy. No.
So cute.
We're just flipping through pictures at this point. Yep. So they head up Brazil, and again we get like montages of them eating Korean food in Brazil.
And it was so funny because Jimin was like, "Hey, can I have some of your meat?" And Jin's like, "Yeah." And Namjoon was like, "Oh,
I thought that all of it was for all of us.
I didn't realize this was individual portions. I've been eating some of all yours."
Yeah, well, that was implied. You didn't.
Yeah.
Because it's Jimin, and Namjoon sitting on the floor together, and like all the food between them. And it. Yeah, so basically Jimin was asking permission, and Namjoon suddenly had this shocked face that basically just said, "I've been eating all of your food."
It's like I didn't realize it was.
I thought it was communal.
Yeah.
So he laughed hard, and then it goes into all of them putting all their music together. So in each of their individual hotel rooms, they had mini studios. So they were all working on music while on tour.
And I just want to say right now that this just made me fall in love with Namjoon. Even if I already love this man, but like this was like
it was so well filmed.
I'm so in love with him.
So they're all like putting their studios together and really studious, and there's like music playing over it, and they're all practicing. And Namjoon sets up, and every time it flips to Namjoon, the music cuts, and it's just him talking. And he's like, forgot his manual, and he comes back around the desk, he goes, "Oh, well, it's not that hard. I can figure it out." And then he picks up some random speaker and a random chord. He's like, "Plugs go in holes." And like,
it was so cute though, because when I first started, he's like, "Oh no, I'm in trouble."
Yeah.
And he like runs this thing. He's like, "Oh, I forgot the manual. Well, let's just do this." And then he's like, "Ooh, this plug is a little complicated."
And it's like a full 2 minutes of all of them being like working and doing amazing things, always cutting back to Namjoon like not quite able to plug something in, and he does figure it out. But it was this show does a great job throwing back little inside jokes for ARMY, right?
It was just the most.
It was pure. It was wholesome.
That man is meant to be my soulmate.
Yeah. So, eventually sits down. They all get a lot of work done. There's a cute moment where J-Hope's like working on a mixtape, and then he sneezes mid-sing. They're working hard. They got their noodles, and it's literally everyone, like even vocal line, and except for Jungkook. I think he might have been playing video games because they never showed his screen, and then it cut to him working out.
Well, he probably was, because I saw he tried to hang his speaker on his light.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So he's just dinking around on his phone, like.
Just a point where he walks in, he literally kicks his shoes across the room. And Suga's like just sitting there working, sipping coffee, and he wrote something he was really proud of, and he looked like all like delightfully arrogant. We just paused on the point where they're all group exercising, and everybody's all intent, and then Namjoon is facing the camera looking bewildered. And that made Ashlyn smile. Just the pause was funny.
Yeah.
Obviously, they have a trainer there with him, because it's the same guy who was helping Jungkook work out in his room, is then like leading them in a group workout. Yeah, and that's basically it. It's like just taking you through small moments of their day.
Yeah. Overall, this whole episode was exceptionally refreshing.
It was.
It made me very happy.
And it gave so many little, not, innocent details about their life. Like, I'm sure if you made enough stills of this episode, you could see what programs they use to edit music. And you can see their workout routines. And you can see, just little things people keep wondering about. Because they tried to give as honest a look, I think, as they could of kind of just what they were doing day to day when they couldn't be on stage, because they can't just go out all the time.
Definitely.
You know, like when you're cooped up in your room, what were they doing? So yeah, I loved it. I really loved this episode.
Yeah, I don't know. It still just makes me so soft seeing Yoongi's red-stained wine teeth.
Yeah.
I'm like, I literally...
All Ashlyn has ever talked about is wanting to just, like, hang out barbecue style with them, like, drinking wine and singing songs and having a good time.
Wouldn't that be the best?
And I think this is the closest you've ever gotten to that.
I have. And it just made my heart sing about how, like, they were all so happy. They were like,
very,
there was
like,
not
genuinely,
a single person that didn't have a smile on their face.
And casually happy. Like, you know this is their normal night.
Yeah. And V's comfy clothes, I mean, I know he's the style master, but I really wanted them. They were like this yellow, like, two-piece, like, sweatsuit. It was, like, so dapper.
You keep falling on this weird mix of, like, Yoongi, Jungkook, and V Venn diagrammed.
Yes.
Into this center for your style.
Mm-hmm.
With a hint of J-Hope every now and then.
Yeah. It's weird. It's funny how, like, we have no idea who they are, but it's, like, it's so easy to think we do. Because of these, like, little, you know, not, this is the most personal we've ever been, but through Bang Time Bombs and everything like that, it's just, like, they're so personable. They're so easy to not only feel comfortable with, but people you want to get to know.
Yeah. I'd say that we probably know them as well as we would any YouTuber.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Right? Like, we can guesstimate a good chunk of their lives, but there's always going to be a portion, and there should be a portion, that's private.
Always, yeah.
But they're so open that what they do show us can't be an act.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine Namjoon being able to pull it off if this was all fake? He would never be able to keep that secret this long.
No.
Like, you know, so I think we get a really delightfully genuine look at who they are. Just understanding that's not all who they are.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, you know, leave comments about what your favorite parts were and what struck you as significant and important. We'd love to hear it.
Absolutely.
Remember, always be kind and comment like BTS is watching.
Absolutely. And we're gonna, so this video should be coming out, if I time things properly, you should be seeing this on Tuesday. And we're actually going to put out at 4 on Saturday, because I realized I did my math wrong, and so we're 2 behind. So we're going to catch up this week. You're going to get 2 episodes, so then we can constantly stay 1 week behind with our reviews. So you'll get a twofer this week, so look forward to that.
Yeah.
And if you're excited about that, make sure you subscribe so you can see when it shows up in your inbox.
Yes.
So until next time,
Live long and prosper.
also like, comment, and subscribe.
Bye.
Bye.